1993 farewell congregational dinner honoring Rabbi Joseph P. Klein.
Gosh, I don't know what to do now that I'm on.
Perform.
Got 3 seconds to stand up to do.
Everything okay down there?
Sure.
Did you have a good trip over?
Yes, we did, thank you. We thought it was going to rain, but somehow it didn't.
Gorgeous weekend, huh?
How are you? Somebody stick in some 50s?
Is that a promise?
I'm glad for it.
Yes.
Are you being an actress tonight? You look gorgeous.
Hello, dear. Hello. How are you?
Yes, see that.
Good to see you again.
What a big meal you got there, kid. I'm glad to hear it.
I'm glad to take it.
Robert?
Doctor, how are you?
Hi.
Better.
Rosalie, come this way. Come this way.
Hi, Debbie.
Long time no see again.
Who's going to?
This is for the rabbi.
This is for the rabbi. Well, Rabbi, we came all the way from Indianapolis to tell you we'll miss you when we go to Chattanooga.
Hi, Ed.
Hi.
Say hi.
Where's Yulinka?
She's eating.
Oh, I thought she was here. Oh, well.
Does it? You know what? I don't think it. Where do you want it? Davy.
Yes, Laura.
So they can get in here.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Henry, she's catching you on film eating.
Fine, how are you?
She's catching me drinking.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi, Debbie.
Just back here. Really short food.
Famous kitchen at the top.
Turn it down. Whoops. See what I did?
Where do you invite one?
Robin sit there and I'll sit there. After dinner, I'll switch with Steve. After dinner, I'll switch with Steve.
100 or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just adjusting here. Yeah, I like your outfit. No, I bought this last year for my wedding. We had a wedding I'm living, I guess, north side, northwest. I was living north central, just above the city of Klein, so I was out of and I took this and this was the well, the reason is that it does this here. That was my house.
You know where I live? I'm at 23rd and Ohio. 22. Okay. 2270 Ohio. Yeah, I'm working on my business You know, any old stuff that you can write it off. It's not old stuff, it's new stuff. No, but you can take it off of your tax. That's what Reed does all the Well, anyway. Hi, Mama. Or if you want to bring stuff to check on Friday night, I'll just let them all see you. Or it will take a lot of money.
Well, this Sunday was a mess.
How you doing?
I knew it would start with one time. I will. Probably next weekend.
Hi, Ellie.
Occasionally I do myself.
That's right, I put
You put on time.
I'm waiting for you.
Hey, I will call you. I am anxious. I will call you hopefully next week. It's on the video.
It's on the video, okay? I hear Ellen was in town last week. I stopped in to see Jimmy Schultz right after you left. It's a gorgeous tie.
Beautiful time.
It's a gorgeous tie.
I just have to get his tie. Beautiful tie.
prepare for next year. We'll say goodbye. And tonight, as we break bread together, we share the moment together, which is, of course, the most important part of it all. Please join me as we say together, Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Don't go into it for careers anymore. It's just to work through school or.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad to help you out. Believe me. How you been?
Hi, Debbie.
All grown up.
That way you wouldn't leave, right? But don't worry, if you get the wrong party, I'll come in and finish. That's right. I don't know.
We do two things. Let me first tell you what our agenda is. Let me thank for all of us. Let somebody get around the kitchen. Norma Evans, I think, did a great job with dinner. I think I can speak for all of us. Okay. We have a brief business meeting. And I've got a couple things to say. Then we'll spend the bulk of the evening recognizing Joe Klein. Joe is the first part of the agenda, as we always do, brief memorial to those members that we lost during the past year. Joe?
It is, I think, always important that we remember those in our congregation who have died, not only last year, but in all the years of our community. It is, after all, the generations that have preceded us that have allowed us to gather here today, to gather in celebration, and to look forward to the future. And so it is not only with sadness, but it is with, I think, a certain sense of pride that we begin each meeting remembering those in our congregational family who have died this past year. Since we have last met as an annual meeting, we've had 2 deaths in the congregation. We remember tonight Nina Rappaport and Rose Felstein. Let us take a moment of silence in their memory. Say in our tradition, Zikrona Libracha, may their memories be a blessing.
Thank you, Joe. I guess it's a good time for another thank you. The first full year that I was serving in the chair of the congregation, my wife was the head of the Federation. And as I go out of office, she headed up to dinner this evening. So I want to thank Shirley, I want to thank the hors d'oeuvres and the wine, thanks to Barbara and Ken Levin. The rest of this, I got some lists of people. Elaine Zucker called a bunch of people to ask them to make desserts in addition to Elaine, Donna Corn, Ann Black, Vera Fortner, Renee Benjaminoff, Donna Atkins, Edna Ruth Gilmore, and Esther Russell. And we thank all of you. Several people came and helped us set up this afternoon. Bonnie Turner, Dora Miles, Marian Abels, and Leva Yance. You also need to know that the decorations on the tables were courtesy of Shirley Levin. Shirley, as you know, if you were at Temple Friday night, is up in South Bend with her new grandson and her daughter Elise, and the rest of the family. The decorations are beautiful. And before we get to business, let me say welcome home to Bobby Weinbaum, to Dolores Fishman, to Ann and David Bell. We're pleased to have you tonight. Okay, there will be no committee reports as we know them normally. You have a booklet, or you had a chance to get a booklet, that tells you what went on during this past year. If you have questions about anything there, please feel free to come to our next board meeting, which will be Monday evening, 14th of June, 7:30 here in the vestry room. One of the first items on the agenda is to discuss anything from those reports that any of you would like to discuss. Please feel free to come to that board meeting or any other board meeting in the future. You're welcome, Hank. Anyhow, I hope you like the way we presented the reports this evening. And while I don't think we will, again, do away with annual reports as we've known them in the past, would you like to see them in this form again? Do you want them published like this? I see a lot of heads nodding. Okay, I think we'll take that as direction, Hank. Before we hold our election, let me thank the Board of Trustees that served with me. Their efforts have made our success possible during the past several years. In particular, it's time to recognize those board members whose terms have expired and will not be serving on the board during the coming year. Bonnie Turner is not with us this evening, but the rest of them are, and as I call your name, if you'd please stand, we'd like to give you a round of applause. Evelyn Cutler, Henry Diamond, Marvin Fishbaum, Renee Benjaminoff, and Gail Miller. It's interesting. The spouse of one and the daughter of another will be on the board next year, so a couple of you are going to keep your hands in, I guess. Okay, we have an election on the agenda that we do have to do this evening. You received the report of the nominating committee. It was published in your booklets. I would now open the floor for any additional nominations. Are there additional nominations, please?
Move the nomination be accepted as presented.
Okay, can I amend that to direct the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for the nominees? Is that okay with you, Ish?
It's all right with me.
Fine. May I have a second, please? May I have a second, please? Thank you, Bess. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Okay, thank you. Next Friday night, the 21st, we will have an installation ceremony as part of that Friday night service. In addition to that, of course, we're going to recognize the kids in the religious school and the Hebrew school. Service starts at 7:30. Please remember that. That way you won't miss anything. And we look forward to seeing you this Friday evening. Before I get into my comments, let me make a couple of points about our calendar for the future. One of these is something that I don't think any of you are aware of, and it will please some of you greatly. Donna Corin and Corin family are going to recognize Hank on the occasion of a birthday on July the 3rd, which is a Saturday evening. You're invited to a party. You'll receive flyers in the mail. August 18th is our annual swimming pool party and picnic out at Deming Park. You'll receive a flyer for that. September 10th is our first Friday night back upstairs in the sanctuary. It's the Friday night that, since I've been president, we have had a wine and cheese reception down here starting at 7 before we go upstairs for services. That'll be a very special service because it will be the installation of Rabbi Katz. Rabbi A. Stanley Dreyfus will install her. In our annual meeting of 1988, you elected me to a 2-year term as secretary of our board. At the time, I expected to be president in 1996. Instead, I became second vice president, first vice president, and acting president in less than a year. Time sure flies when you're having fun. Presidents and even acting presidents are supposed to lead. Of course, being a leader is simple. Just find out where the group wants to go and get out in front. Well, there's a little more to it than that, but when you're supposed to be in front, when you're too big to hide, you get the message. In 1989, we really didn't have much direction. We were sort of drifting. Our most important accomplishment came from a suggestion that Hank made. It came the From Generation to Generation program. From it came a roadmap for congregational activities that we have continued to follow, review, bring up to date. We do use it. My time as your president has special meaning for me. I'm part of a family tradition. My grandparents started it. My parents continued it. Shirley and I have followed it. Tradition of service to our United Hebrew congregation. As my father did before me, I was called upon to finish the term of my predecessor. One of the happy events was being on the bema when my son Michael was confirmed a couple of years ago, as my father did when I was confirmed. He was president at that time. But I'm going to be one up on you, Dad, in 2 weeks. You know how rare it is for me to be one up on him? Doesn't happen often. I'll be one up, because I'll be on the bema, my last act as president, on Friday the 28th, when my daughter Sarah is confirmed. My first comment after my election as president, I told you that the importance I place on being the third generation of my family to be president of our congregation. My tenure as your president will always be a source of pride, and I have some new memories and warm feelings that please me greatly. The best measure of the success of a president, however, is in the strength of the leadership that follows. Tonight you have elected the strongest leaders and board that I've seen. And I will enjoy being part of their success. And I take credit for this. 3.5 years I've had the privilege of leading this congregation. The plaque in the hall lists my 41 predecessors, and I was looking at it, and I realized that I know or knew 23 out of the 41. So I'm sort of a link. My presidency has been a link between the past, our present, and the future. Our efforts have been to build on the foundation we inherited. There's been no list of priorities or goals, because there's only been one goal: to best provide for the religious, educational, and social needs of all of us. And with success, our United Hebrew congregation will come to have even greater value for the lives of its members. Our congregation is strengthened as we approach the 21st century. We have new leadership. Our new rabbi arrives in August, and I expect good things to continue for the congregation and for all of us. For a moment, let me focus on several people who have had particular importance in the success we've had. It's my chance to say thanks publicly. Let me start with Joe. Rabbi Klein has handled so much that could have been turned over to me. He allowed me to devote my time and attention to the things I could do. Joe, as you'll hear later this evening, will be missed in the weeks and months ahead. Your cooperation, your effectiveness have been vital. At least one of us has always been very well organized. My vice presidents have joined me in a unique agreement that establishes a common program to provide continuity for our 3 terms. Continuity we've not had. Because they've been involved in our operations, they've had something I would have loved to have had. They've had some on-the-job training. You'll see the value of our agreement for years to come. Hank and Carl have provided ideas, advice, and counsel, in addition to their other efforts on your behalf. We've operated as a team, a practice that benefits our congregation, and we will continue as a team. I can't say too many good things about them. They've given it themselves, making me look good on the way, which is a big job. So thank you, Hank, and thank you, Carl. Bruce Black's been our treasurer for 4 years now. We just elected him for another trip through that chair. His competence has earned my complete confidence. Bruce has always had the answers, never relied on them totally. It's strange, but there's an echo in here. One of us has always been well organized. And my thanks to Nelson Cohen. Nelson's our godfather. Work for the union, both in the region and on the national board, have given him a unique perspective. Nelson's always been available for advice and counsel, to answer my questions. He continues to express an interest in our affairs, but he's not interfered. There must have been times when he had something to say, and I value his restraint in the face of great temptation. You need to know the great credit Nelson brings us, Nelson and Sonny bring us. His reputation is so high that during the regional meeting last November, people who saw Terre Haute on my name tag introduced themselves so that they could say nice things about Nelson and Sonny. A lot more people I want to thank. Morris Lansbaum, who couldn't make connections to get back tonight in Florida. Pete C. Becker, Elaine Zucker, Leva Yonks, Bonnie Turner, Bob Germans, Terry Laxers, our partners in crime, Max Einstanding, Sam Fine, Sam Schnitzer, the Super Six who served with me on our selection committee, and in particular I want to thank Shirley. The efforts of all these people to serve you, and I know I've missed some that deserve my recognition this evening, prove that the sum of the parts is truly greater than the individuals. We're an island of Judaism and a Gentile seed, and our continued identity means that we must work together. Our success is due to so many of you. Your continued participation and cooperation and effort is the reason our United Hebrew congregation continues to serve its membership well. I was first vice president when I became acting president. I wasn't the second vice president. I share the many responsibilities I inherited from Stan Henry. Hank Corrin came to the rescue just as I discovered how badly I needed help. He was willing to accept any assignment, but Hank made possible what seemed overwhelming. His leadership was added at a crucial time. The next several years, we'll continue to build on our success and accomplishments, a fine record that he helped create. Hank was very blunt. He told me that I wasn't going to retire. I've been given several assignments, and Hank promises I won't be bored. My biggest challenge in the next year or so will be to keep my mouth shut and let Hank get on with it. I know you join me in offering best wishes to Hank and the new Board of Trustees as they assume their new positions and responsibilities. You've given me two opportunities. The first one helped me make friends out of people who were acquaintances. Most of them are here tonight. The other was a chance for personal growth. I had to grow to be able to meet the many challenges that came up. I had to grow. My presidency was to have a record of accomplishment. I have to tell you, I wouldn't have been disappointed if there would not have been a search committee for me to lead. My time as your president is of great importance to me. Together we took a congregation that could only claim to have survived. We have a congregation today that again takes us from generation to generation. Thanks for making me part of it.
I'd like to thank all of you for electing me president. I would like to return to you what you've given to me. I'm here now for 26 years. I came here as a stranger and found an extended family. I also found a wonderful wife. I raised my children here. Now it's my turn to give back to the community. I really thank you for that. We have two celebrations today, two commencements. We have Ed leaving as president, but not leaving. He's right. I have all kinds of jobs for him. We also have the rabbi moving to another congregation. And I think it's appropriate now that we honor Ed, and then we'll honor the rabbi. I would like Rose Goodman to come forward. Rose.
Getting ready, Ed? That's not fair. Because,
Stand up, would you, Rose?
Oh, thank you. I've always going to say that I want to be heard. My last chance, probably. It's not fair because the things that Ed said, I was going to say. But since I'm up here, I'm going to say them anyway. I hope you bear with me. Hank, Rabbi, members of the United Hebrew Congregation, and friends. Hank says for me to present you to this congregation. But it's unnecessary because you are a native-born Terre, Haute person, and since your college days, you've been actively engaged in cultural and civic duties, and very well done so. Incidentally, you may not know it, but I introduced my obstetrician to your parents, and since then, I have watched you literally grow and become a very, very valuable member of this community. As a senior citizen, I speak with some authority since I followed your relationship through three, well, maybe 2.5 generations. The first one with your grandparents, Carl and Blanche Wolf. And from infancy, you learn the real basis of a good life from them. I remember the many times the pleasure I had watching your grandmother tell you stories and sing songs to you. And you so intently watched her. You have followed that same habit throughout your life, intently listening and watching and always expanding your learning. The next generation, number 2, from your parents, Rosalie and Norman Wernzer, came the solid reinforcement and practical application of what you had already learned. And now the third, or 2.5 generations anyway, you continued growing and always learning. Now you are a full-grown adult with your own family. You completed your formal Jewish education from kindergarten through confirmation. You participated in temple activities. You were always there to help whenever needed, and always constantly expanding your learning. Then, as in real life, an emergency arose, and you were called on, with but brief experience as a board member, to fill in the top leadership, the presidency of our congregation, without taking it going through the steps that were necessary to become president. You've really, truly done a yeoman's job, far above and beyond the call of duty. By example, you have carried on the tradition learned from your grandparents and from your parents. No chore was too much. You're always there to help. I should add that you're a jolly fellow. You tell some really great stories, and I laugh so hard I inevitably forget the punchline and have to call you the next day to find out so I can repeat that story. I am honored and pleased to have the opportunity to tell you how grateful we are and to thank you and for this congregation and from our community, and to wish you many happy, healthy years of continued service. Now you can have a good time.
I'd like Carl to come forward. He has something to say also.
I feel compelled to say a few words about Ed, even though I know he probably is angry at us for doing this. I'm going to emphasize really something that some of the others have said, because I think I've been impressed by how he has continually given thought to the years when he will no longer be president. You've already heard that he worked closely with Hank and later with me in order to provide smooth transitions, and for the same reason, he has promised to be readily available for consultation. Early in his presidency, he established the Generations to Generations program, and now I understand that it was really Hank's idea and he supported it, but he made sure it went on to ensure that the congregation will be responsive to the needs and wishes of the membership and be ever ready to make changes. I believe that his foresightedness has done much to ensure a good future for our congregation at a time when we must face the challenges of smaller membership and revenues. Despite this constant threat, the future looks brighter than it has for quite a while. For this, we must be grateful for the contributions of many individuals, including Rabbi Klein and many of you who are here tonight. But I want to make sure that all of you are aware of how much attention Ed has given to the future of this congregation throughout his presidency. Ed?
Present this to you this evening. I'll read the statement. Edward C. Wormser, Acting President, 1990-1991, President, 1991-1993, United Hebrew Congregation, Terre, Haute, Indiana. Ed Wormser assumed the leadership of our congregation at a most difficult and crucial time when Stan Henry was so sick. At that time, he lacked first and second vice presidents to assist him. Ed has given of himself in an extraordinary manner. He has developed a unique form of collective leadership and has brought numerous innovations to the lay leadership role of our temple. I would like to ask Norman Wormser, past president, to present to his son Ed a gift from the congregation representing their love, esteem, and appreciation for his dedication and service. Ed's grandfather, Carl Wolf, served as president 1926-1930. Ed's father, Norman Wormser, served as acting president 1952-1953 and as president 1954-1956. Now Ed is the third generation of his family to serve as president of the United Hebrew Congregation. This truly demonstrates the Jewish tradition of passing a love for learning and community service from generation to generation. Signed, Herman Karin, President, Carl B. Zucker, Vice President, Joseph B. Klein, Rabbi, May 16, 1993. Norman, come on up. We have a gift for Ed to go along with this citation. And you do have to. Rabbi, don't do that. Yours is great.
My father and Aunt probably a suit, you know. That would be fitting, considering where I come from. This is a print. I couldn't begin to tell you what the Hebrew says around it, but then you already knew I couldn't do that. This is supposed to be the Holy of Holies in the Temple of Jerusalem. surrounded by the fronts of synagogues around the world.
Before we leave, let Ed come back. There's a plaque down the bottom. It reads Edward C. Wormser. We have a little error. We have P instead of C, which will be corrected. That's my fault. Did you ever find a professor who was totally accurate? No.
Not if we're totally honest.
President, United Hebrew Congregation, Terre, Haute, Indiana, a man of courage, commitment, and foresight. May 16, 1993.
I thank all of you. But the purpose this evening is not to recognize Ed Wormser. This evening is dedicated to our rabbi. Before we talk about Joe, we need to recognize that Barbara has been an integral part of our congregation. We'll miss her just as we will miss Joe. Barb, your importance to us isn't stated often enough. While we focus on Joe this evening, we want to begin with you. You made your own separate, distinct place for yourself in our congregation. You participated willingly, you sometimes led. You've always done it effectively. It's been our pleasure to have you in our congregational family. Just as that family includes a number of people, some of them that came back this evening, that moved away, and will always include the Kleins. Debbie, we have a bouquet for you. There are many who will participate this evening as we honor Rabbi Klein. 15 years ago, when Joe was chosen for our pulpit, the committee that made the selection was headed by Carolyn German. Carolyn's in Louisville tonight for a wedding with her family. She wanted to be included this evening. So let me begin with a letter that she wrote. The only way I can remember the age of one of Charlie's cousins, St. Louis, to add 13 to the years Rabbi Klein has spent in Terre Haute. It was during Michael's bar mitzvah festivities that I sneaked out to call Rabbi Klein to arrange for his first visit to Terre Haute. The day of that visit, our section of the country had a snowstorm. I waited for a call telling me that the young man would not be arriving, but there was no call. Instead, up the drive came a car with the most glorious ice formation in each wheel hub. And out of the car came a relaxed and smiling young man. Determined or crazy came to mind. His years have confirmed the first. Do some of his Purim outfits confirm the latter? Since that day, I've discovered that he's not only determined, but also dedicated, devoted, and very punctual. It was a beautiful sunny day when we stood on the balcony so we could share the beauty of the sanctuary, and I was happy to hear him exclaim about a place I held so dear, a place now dear to him and his family. Over the years, we have shared many communal joys and sorrows. I've always found him understanding and helpful to me personally and to the congregation as a whole. I shall miss him, as shall we all. I found a copy of the letter I, as co-chairman of the search committee, wrote to Rabbi Klein affirming arrangements for his coming here. It was written on Purim, and I commented about his casting his lot in coming here. How happy for us that the die fell the way it did. Now, 15 years later, will soon be Shavuot, a time to accept new responsibilities. As Rabbi Klein moves on to bring new life and rededication to Another community, we wish him and his family our very best. To him, Barbara, and our children, Ellie and Adam, we say with love, Lehitrao, until we meet again. We've got a number of people, as I said, who participate this evening. Let me call to the microphone Renee Benjaminoff, who has been the president of our Federation of Jewish Women during this past year. The Federation in recognition of Joe and Barbara this past Tuesday, and she'd like to share her thoughts with us this evening.
I stand here tonight reflecting on the inevitable. We were fortunate to have this dear Rabbi Klein for 15 years as a spiritual leader, and now our good and best wishes for your new life in Chattanooga. The years here have been crucial for you as they have been for us. We watched your children grow. Adam from a little baby to confirmation, with many talents and promise for leadership. Ellie, from a little girl to an adult, ready to take a giant step into a new environment in order to fulfill his dreams. We shall miss you, Barbara. Your talents are many. You must have gotten some magic hints as to how to juggle children, absence, temple, and community. You shared close progress, sisterhood Shabbat. You served as the president of the Federation of Jewish Women, just to mention a few. We thank you, Rabbi Klein, for participating in our Federation meetings, for blessing the race, just as you mentioned, for giving book reviews, or for interpreting religion through magic. But most of all, you were always there to enforce the role of the Jewish woman.
Years ago, the dinner that recognized Joe's 10th anniversary in Terre, Haute, Joe was presented a series of hats. In recognition of the many duties he's assumed that go beyond the more usual responsibilities of a rabbi. We made a mistake that evening, and this is our chance to thank Joe. I can't help it. Yes, I understand. I'm already praying out of it.
Your heart. You shall keep the faith and diligently teach it to your children, even as Rabbi Klein has taught it to you. You will speak to one another about his preachings and teachings when you sit in the comfort of your homes and when you go about your daily routines. They will so saturate your mind that you will ponder them when you fall asleep at night and when you wake up in the midst of them in the morning. The basis for Rabbi Klein's teachings is the Word of God. Therefore, you shall bind them to yourself and keep them ever before your eyes. You will recall his anecdotes and idioms and witticisms. You will place them on your refrigerator doors and bathroom mirrors as a constant reminder and affirmation of your Jewishness and the leadership that he made real to you. And when God sends a new rabbi to lead this temple, it shall be said that the people of the United Hebrew congregation are strong in their faith before the Lord and rich in their traditions within the community because they have been well taught.
15 years ago, on a Tuesday morning in May, my bowling teammates, Carolyn and Ann Durman, and the Zal girls and I were at our weekly bowling league. During the course of bowling, we did our usual kibitzing. I mentioned that David and I were invited to Jerry and Joe's home that evening to meet our new rabbi. Carolyn, who'd been on the search committee and knew the rabbi, asked me to tell her who I thought the rabbi reminded us of. That evening, when David and I walked into the Einstandings and first saw Rabbi Klein, we actually did a real Hollywood double take. At that time, he wore a beard, and so did our son, Larry. Since they are the same age and about the same height and build, at first glance, the resemblance was uncanny. And that was our first encounter.
Do you hear my remarks? It's hard to squeeze 15 years into 3 minutes to praise our rabbi, which was my assignment this evening. Excuse me. 15 years is 780 Friday nights. And to my knowledge, our rabbi has never canceled a Shabbat worship service. Not even during that bitterly cold winter of '79, when the radiators in the choir loft froze and cracked. I received a call around 4:30 that afternoon. I raced to the temple and discovered our rabbi in the kitchen with a deluge of water and ceiling tile coming down around his shoulders. That afternoon, Rabbi Klein put on his plumber's hat, and together we stopped the flood and began the cleanup. Through the years, Rabbi Klein has worn all of that.
Oy vey Rabbi, oy vey Rabbi, oy vey Rabbi, Joseph Klein. When you're gone, you'll not forget. For your 10-year here was hard. First the roof leaked, then the boiler. Now your closet oozes slime. I can fix it without money, 'cause our building funds are gone. Yes, the covers for the tourists, you did brilliantly design. And the logo for our temple, too, was made by Rabbi Klein. With the banjo in my favor, and with magic tricks divine, entertain us and enchant us. Please don't leave us, Rabbi Klein. For more questions we must ask you as we bring 4 cups of wine. Frame your answers very carefully, or we won't let you resign. What's your hurry? Why you leaving? Can't you wait till 69? Isn't Terre, Haute idyllic? Give us answers, Rabbi Klein. Oy vey Rabbi, oy vey Rabbi, oy vey Rabbi, Joseph Klein. When you're gone, we'll not forget you. Please accept our Valentine.
Rabbi, I'm speaking to you from the planet Neon. As you may know, 5 Earth years equates to 1 Neon year. We received word that you are finishing your 3rd year.
Read the plate on it, would you please, Joe?
So it is to honor Rabbi Joseph P. Klein, United Hebrew Congregation, Terre, Haute, Indiana, May 16, 1993.
I've got one at home, it's got 6 of them.
I'm sorry.
One.
You're honored by your friends from Terre Haute. Your friends have been so generous that instead of a leaf, we've actually put a plate at the base of the tree. It's on the left side. United Hebrew Congregation decorates this leaf on its Eitz Chaim in honor of Joseph P. Klein, our rabbi for 15 years, presented at our annual meeting May 16, 1993. The plate is already installed.
It's up there now?
Yes? It's up there now. The wording on the plate's the same as on the leaves, it's just a different shape.
was thinking this afternoon that almost 25 years ago, in the late summer of 1969, I had decided that I wanted to be involved in Jewish education. I wanted to be a teacher. And in the fall of 1969, I had an interview at Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati. And the first question, there was a big table with professors, a few administrators, and a student. And the first question they asked me was why I wanted to become a rabbi. And my response was, I don't want to become a rabbi. And it caused a few looks around the table. I said, I don't really want to be a rabbi. I want to be a Jewish educator. I want to teach. I want to teach in the university. And this is the best place for me to learn. I want to learn so that I can go out and teach. If at the end of that process you say that I'm a rabbi, that's fine, but I'm really not interested in that. And for some reason they accepted.
After 7, the 20th of May,